Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to what's sure to be an exciting webinar on XML. As many of you know, this is my favorite topic at SAFE. I spend many times running around the world, and anybody who wants to talk about XML or has an XML problem, I'm happy to talk to them. So I'm here this morning. My name's Don Murray, and I'm one of the co-founders of SAFE, and I'm here with Laura Kersons, and she's a product specialist who is equally excited with XML as I am, and and also with and answering questions this morning is Wan Chu Chow, who is the mastermind um, behind much of the XML technology that we have at SAFE, and Mark Stokes, who is the leader of our professional services team. So we're going to go through we're going to go through 7 ways that FME makes XML easy, and we're going to have some questions, some polls, just to understand a little bit more about you. And I think with that, Laura is going to take us away on what we do. Okay. Oh, there they go. Okay, I'm a little ahead, but that's okay. Okay. And so questions. On the GoToWebinar at the bottom there, you have the ability to type questions. And so please do ask questions. We'll do our best to get back to all of them. But if we don't have time during the webinar, we'll be sure to send a follow-up email to ensure that every question gets answered. Okay, so now about SAFE.
Okay, so SAFE software, that's us. So we're the ones who make FME.
Just go like that. Yeah. Okay.
So we're located here in beautiful Surrey, British Columbia, and FME. So this is our product, the Feature Manipulation Engine. So it's our tagline, powering the flow of spatial data. So basically, we're here to help you get your data to where you want it to be. So, and powering the flow also of data. So we work with spatial data as well as non-spatial data. So it doesn't necessarily have to have a spatial component to it. So if you're working with databases, for example, you can work with that, or XML.
XML,
Yeah.
hey, yeah. So we're going to do some demos to this day that don't have any spatial component to them at all, because any XML is good data, really. And what's the difference between XL and XML? This is a trick question.
XL.
Yeah, XM.
Similar,
That's it, right? They're XL's missing the middle, missing the letter M. So there you go.
Okay, so capabilities of FME. So FME itself has support for over 300 formats now. So it lets you convert your data between any of the different formats that we have. So we've got a list of some of the categories here. So you can see XML is one of them, among many others: CAD, point cloud, raster, spatial, non-spatial, and database formats here. So it lets you transform the data that you need, so you can go from format to format, as well as actually restructuring your data and the data models that you're working with. Integrating multiple data types into a single data model, so you can take data from any different formats. You can take some XML and maybe some database stuff and put them all together and send them out into some other format. And it allows you to share spatial data with people where, when, and how they need it, so you can put it into whatever form they might be able to work with and make it easy for them to get at. Workbench, this is the primary application for building up your data workflows. So it's just a graphical interface to let you kind of lay out exactly where you're getting your data from, what kind of transformation you want to be doing on it, and where you want to be sending it out to. In a
nutshell. So the first thing is we'd like to know what version of FME are you using? So Laura's going to launch the poll here. And the choices are FME 2013, which is the latest FME. And that's the one that we're going to be using this morning. Or FME 2012, FME 2011, FME 2010 or older. And maybe you're not currently using FME. You're just here to understand how FME can help your XML. So yeah, so give them 2 more seconds and then close that poll. And then we can share the results. So you'll see share the results, and we can see that, wow, about half are using FME 2013. That's fantastic, and about 15% currently don't use FME, so that's great too. So this during this webinar taking it we're very high level. This is not an FME training course, and so you'll be able to understand everything that we're doing today. So thanks for taking some time to spend with us this morning. Okay, so okay, so if you're new to FME, there's a couple of things here. First is getting started page. So if you just go there, you'll find out all about FME. And there's a weekly desktop overview webinar, which I think is done by Mark. Is that still done by Mark Stokes?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's about an hour, isn't it? Yeah. So that's a little more detail to just to help you understand FME. So with that, I think. Oh, Laura's going to talk about the Workbench here.
So.
Whoa! Look at that. Okay.
So yeah, this is a screenshot of what Workbench looks like. So when you lets you lay out your workflows. You've got on the left-hand side of the screen, you've got your readers. This is the data that's coming in. Those blue boxes in the middle are your transformation tools. That's letting you restructure the data and make whatever modifications you want. And on the right-hand side, we've got the writer that lets you write out the data in whatever format that you want to work with.
Yeah, good. That's an old screenshot. It's got square edges, doesn't have our fancy visualizers. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And the big thing is you don't have to be a coder. So that's kind of nice. If you want to write code, you can write code. We have Python entry points and TCL, but really you never have to write code, and we're certainly not going to write any code here today. And yeah, so I think it's time for another poll. So how long have you been using XML is the question. Laura's going to launch that. So here you go, less than a year, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, more than 5 years. I would consider that to be an XML veteran. How many years has Juan been working with XML? Probably 10 years? About 10 years, yeah. And then, I don't work with XML. Maybe you're just interested in what all the excitement's about. And so you're here this morning to learn a bit about that. And so again, a couple more seconds and we'll close the poll and share the results. And you'll see it's a pretty even split actually, pretty much about 20% right across the board. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, good. Okay, so what's up with XML? Well, more and more you're finding XML is everywhere, and we're going to talk about where you're going to find XML. And when we talk a lot about XML at SAFE, we also talk a lot about JSON. So between those two text-based formats, you're bumping into them all over the place. As more and more things go to web services, XML and JSON are the formats that generally all data is shipped with across the wire. This morning we're going to talk about XML, but it's important to note that FME loves both JSON and XML, and Juan's group also looks after all the JSON technology. And because JSON and XML in many ways are very parallel and equivalent, the story for FME for JSON is the same as the story as it is for XML. So we'll be doing another webinar at a later date where we're going to talk about FME and JSON. Just like today, we're talking about FME and XML, and I'm lobbying to get involved with that one too. So we'll see what happens. Okay. So anyway, XML is everywhere. One place that XML is used a lot, and that's many organizations are using XML, or in many cases they call it GML to share data, and national organizations. So of course in Europe there's the Inspire initiative. In Australia you have ADAC, and in many Scandinavian countries they have GML or XML based formats, and RDF is another type of XML. And so we're in the lucky spot of being able to work with many different types of XML data. So RSS feeds. So XML is a communication protocol of the web, and a little later we'll be showing how easy it is to simply read web page data follow links and things like that. So that's just one spot, and those just two examples of some web data. Okay, devices, of course. In many cases, we have mobile devices slinging information around, and the documents are going to be, in many cases, are going to be XML. Sensors, of course, the world's getting full of sensors, more and more sensor data. And again, the data that's coming across is XML. So it's just everywhere. Many applications, web applications, and Laura's going to show something later today, which is basically, again, it's an HTTP request, and the body of data that comes back is XML. So we're gonna talk about that too. And of course, don't forget about JSON, because in many of these cases you might say, well, I see JSON more than XML, and other folks might say, yeah, I see XML more and JSON a little less. And for us, we, as everything with data at SAFE, we don't care about the format. It's really about the content, and we build, as Laura mentioned, 300 different format supports, with XML and JSON being one of them. So you can focus on the content of the data and not get worried about the syntactic representation. Okay, so we're getting close here to the first one, first demo. So the first thing is at SAFE, we really make it easy to read XML. And if there is an XML format, then that's well defined, then what we do is we wrap up the XML reader in a very thin layer so that you can easily find the one that is going to help you read it. So you can see some of the region-specific ones. You can see Common GML from Sweden. You can see Kunta GML from Finland. And that's actually probably one of my favorites, only because it reminds me of the movie Roots. And so anyway, I think I'm funny, and that's really, anyway, there we go. You can see some other ones from the Czech Republic, and City GML, of course, and many of the others. So if you don't see your format here, you can probably just read it with the plain old XML or GML reader. But please do let us know if you do have another XML format that you work with a lot, and you could find it on the list here too. Okay, so time for demo. Demo number one, I'm simply going to read some OSM data. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Oh, come on. Okay, come on. Where's my? Okay, escape. Okay, there we go. So I have some OSM data here, and I'm simply going to drag it into a workbench. Okay, like this. Okay, and many of the formats have feature type, have parameter boxes you can read. The first time I read them, I just have a quick look, and I just go with the defaults. We've spent some time on the defaults to give them some of the data that you want. Now this has a lot of feature types. In interest of time, I'm only going to pick highways. Okay. But you can see all the different feature types there of the OSM. You'll notice it has all the attributes. So now I'm going to connect it to a data inspector. Okay, and I'm going to run it. And that's all there is to it. Now I'm reading this OSM data, and I'm able to see it. Okay, so there it is there. Okay, I'm going to zoom into an area. Okay. Okay, right here. And I'm going to click on this one. And the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to see the attributes that are part of that. Okay. And let's have my feature information window. And you can see that it has, the name is Hall Road, and there's a bunch of other information. Okay, go back over to this one over here, and you'll see that, hey, there is no name and some attributes there. Now, because I didn't, what I'll do is I'll create another OSM, the same file. We'll look at the parameters again, and we'll see that we're just using the OSM accrue feature types and the attributes, and these are the ones that are there. But users, as they collect data, are allowed to add other attributes to the OSM. And so if that's the case as it is here, I can simply click on the feature scan mode, and now when I load it up, you'll see that I have many more attributes. So if you open a data set and you don't see what you expect to see, or you don't think you're seeing everything, take a look at the parameters on the reader and you will see now I have many more attributes. So I have the name now, okay, down here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so I have many more attributes. Okay, so how hard is it to go to take this data and go somewhere? Very easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm avoiding using any transformers because we haven't talked about FME transformers yet. So we're going to go to say pick a database. I'll go to PostGIS, okay, which is a database. Okay, and again, I look at the parameters, everything's set up fine for me, and I'm going to say okay. And I'm not going to add a feature type because I'm just going to say here, duplicate on writer. So, and now I have my PostGIS over here, and now I'm going to edit my PostGIS and get rid of a bunch of the attributes I don't want. Okay, I don't want that one. I don't want that one, that one. Okay, and let's get rid of some of these other ones here. Whoops. Okay, okay, get rid of that one. And good enough, get rid of this one. Okay, get rid of a bunch of the attributes, and there we go. Obviously, if we had more time, we'd spend a little bit more time being a little bit more selective, but that's okay. And so now, what am I going to call this? Let's call this Highway, what is it, Wednesday? We'll call it Highway Wed. Okay, we'll write it to PostGIS, and this will only take a second. Okay, we're reading a lot of features because remember we're reading the whole OSM file, but in fact we're only going to write about 100 and something or 300 features here. So we're going to see, okay, there we go. It's finished. Okay, I wrote 1,375. Now I can go back to my data inspector and let's open our PostGIS database, and you will see that I was able to. There should be a table here called, okay, Highway Wed, and there it is. Okay, I open it. Okay, and this PostGIS is actually being hosted by Amazon in the cloud, so because I'm too lazy to actually install it, so in it comes. Okay, and I zoom in on the same area right in here. Okay, and assuming that there's no user issue, I click on it, and you'll see that there's name is somewhere in here. Okay, we'll go over here, and you can see the attributes that I pulled across right there, Hall Road. Okay, and it's in Surrey, BC, and so that's as easy as it is to move OSM data into any old format. So that's the first demo showing very easily how it is to read data. So any comments there, Laura? Poor Laura, she has no idea what's coming.
This is exciting, yeah. So that kind of workflow would work for any of the predefined XML
Yeah,
formats?
that's right. That's right. So of course you're going to get it in your database just as it is defined, but at least you got it. And since we're not allowed to use transformers yet, that's about all I could do. I could rename attributes, so I could have shown some of that, and we could delete attributes, of course, like we did for the stuff we don't want. And you saw in that one feature there was a lot of empty fields because, of course, I scanned, so it's just taking the union, of all the different features for that particular type. So another format that we do a great job on is CityGML. I'm not going to show it here, but this is our data inspector where I just opened a CityGML file, and you can see what it looks like. And again, it was point and click right in our data inspector, and that's pretty nice. By turning layers on and off, you can look at it. So again, while FME is a data transformation tool, the data inspection is really key. And in FME 2013 and SP1 in particular, and SP2, the data inspector is amazing. Yeah, it's even good for XML now. So there you go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, well, there's a lot of arbitrary XML data out there. So again, I'm not allowed to use a transformer because we haven't talked about them yet. but we're going to read arbitrary XML data. What do I mean by arbitrary XML data? I mean just XML data you might get from a web service, or maybe your buddy sends you some XML data because he knows that you two love XML. And so, you have FME, and you haven't actually taken the course yet. So let's say you don't even know what a transformer is per se. So again, we're going to open this in Workbench, okay? And we're going to go to CSV with this XML. So we're going to convert this XML to CSV. So I'll say CSV down here, and let's pick an output format. Output, we'll call it, okay, I just want a directory, right? There we go. So we're going to call it output. Okay, right there. Make sure I didn't do output. And we're going to put the output field names on the first line. Okay, and there we go. Okay, I forgot one thing. I forgot to tell it what tables I wanted, so that's okay. First thing I always do is I always open the XML. So I'm not an IE fan, but hey, it works here. So as you can see, this is the XML document. It has a table called customers with a customer record, and it has another table called orders with order records. So I'm going to turn those into two tables, a customer table and a order table. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to just add the reader back, add reader, XML, okay, and go over here to demos, arbitrary data, orders XML, and I'm going to specify the elements that I want to match, which were customer, and order. Okay, and I'm going to say that. And I also want to flatten these because I don't just want an XML fragment for each of these pieces. I actually want to convert it into a relational-like view. So I'm going to say enable flattening like that. And that's what I'm going to do there. Okay, and that's it. Okay, just like that. Okay, and so now you'll see I have these nice attributes. Okay, like that. Look at that thing of beauty. A thing of beauty. Okay, and we will log them just for kicks. Okay, connect loggers, and now I'll run. Well, I won't do. I'll just log one of them. Doesn't matter. Okay, we'll only look at. Whoops. Okay, click the wrong button. Here we go. Okay, and so now when we look in the log, we're going to see. You can see the XML fragments here. This is an XML fragment for customer. Okay, but you can also see by saying flattening, FME now turned them into attributes that I can actually work with. Okay, so now going out to CSV now is trivial, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select these two attribute types on the input and say duplicate on writer. Duplicate on writer. And now what I have is I have two CSV files that will be created that are equivalent to the two tables within the XML document. So just to show how to rename some attributes on the customer address one, I'm going to get rid of some things. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I always find this more fun when you have specialists, sound effects. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of this one. And you can see why, I mean, how easy this is. I don't, I'm, other than knowing how to open XML in IE or your favorite browser, I really don't know what's going on here. Okay, so now I'm just going to, okay. I'm just connecting these now because I renamed them. Opportunity for improved user experience there. Okay, make a PR about that one. Okay, so now what I have is I have this order and customer. Okay, so now I run these again. I can leave the loggers connected if I want, and I run it. And now what I should have is I'll have two CSV files. Okay, so we'll go over here and we'll go to output. And look at that. That's the, where did I put them? Okay, let's see here. Okay, refresh. That's interesting. Where did I put them? Okay, there's always good fun. We're going to actually write them demos. I put them in 7 writing. Okay, we'll put them somewhere else. I didn't really want to put them there. Okay, we want to put them here. It's always exciting doing them live, Laura. Okay, we're going to put them there. Okay, and run it again. And now the output's where I want it. Okay, so you can see, that's better. I have the times. Now I can look at the CSV, and once to open it in Excel, one of the great things of our new data inspector is this ability to look at non-spatial data. And actually, it does a better job of CSV files than Excel. So there you go. So there's the view of one table here. So this is the, okay, let's go like this. Okay, that's silly thing like that. And this is the customer table. You can see the 4 rows. Okay, and this is the order table. And you can see all the fields there. So now I've successfully transformed that XML document into CSV. So there you go. And of course, that could have gone into any database. I just picked CSV because it was different than PostGIS or Postgres. And there we go. And we still haven't used any transformers. So that's really the key thing now. So even without using any transformers, it's easy to work with FME and XML. Okay, so here we go. So what next? Okay. Okay, so now we start looking at the FME transformers. And with the FME transformers, we have a number of them, and this is where it really gets interesting. You can see them there. The ones that really are the most powerful or used a lot is the XML flattener. You saw the flattening capability just on the reader there. But we also have a transformer called the flattener. And the XML validator is also really useful. And it's useful to make sure that the XML that you're getting, you might have trouble working with XML, run it through the validator. It might not even be valid. There's a surprising amount of invalid XML out there. And also the fragmenter, we're going to work with that this morning too, which can take a single XML document and break it apart into multiple features. And the formatter is also very useful. It's useful for making it look pretty. Okay, and then if you know XQuery, just like we said, you don't have to write code. We have something called a Python caller. We do give the ability, if you know XQuery, then we do give you building blocks for XQuery. And similarly with XSLT. So if you know XSLT and you really want to use XSLT, or you have an existing XSLT process, you can use those too. Okay. Now that interesting. There's some interesting builds going on here. So the first thing we're going to do, again, we're going to take it very simple, is we're going to introduce you to how transformers work. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to validate some XML. Show you how to validate XML. Okay, so back up here. Oh, sorry, here. And now into validate. Okay, data. And we're going to validate some XML here. So we'll open it with Workbench. Okay. And in this case, what I'm going to do is for these, I'm not going to use the XML reader. I'm going to use a text file reader because I want to read an entire XML document as one big chunk. Okay, and in here it doesn't matter. I'm not going to anything, so I'm going to use the null writer, which is very, very fast, but doesn't do a lot. Okay, so now I have, if I log this, you'll see that I have, okay, I can see my XML, as we've always seen, there it is, but I want to validate it. And the nice thing about FME is now in the middle of a flow, I can drop in things called transformers. And the way I do that is I simply, in this case, I've highlighted a link. If I type XML, I'm going to see all the transformers that begin with XML. Okay, I want to do validation, so I type validation, and you can see there's an XML validator. I'd simply hit enter and OK, and now I've connected a validator, and I'm going to log the past one, the ones that are good there, and I'll put another one for the failed ones there. And now I'm going to be validating the attribute specifying XML text. So it's coming in on an attribute. In this case, there's only one attribute. It's called text line data. So that's the one I'm going to validate. And the first thing I'm going to do is there's 3 modes. I should go back there. There's 3 modes. There's none, which enables you to turn it off programmatically through a publish parameter, or syntax only, which will validate the syntax. In many cases, there is no such thing as a schema for the XML. So the best you can do is syntax validation. And in other cases, you may have the XSD document, so you want to do both, okay? So initially, we will do syntax only, okay? And I will run that, and this is going to be run on that OS, that orders document, okay? So let's pick one, a different one. In this one, what I've done is, whoops, in this one what I've done is I've wrecked the syntax, okay? So we will run this and we'll see that we get a log failed out, and we will look at what FME says. And FME tells us exactly the line number where the problem is, okay? It says line number 16, expected end of tag customer. So if we open this XML document here and we go to line 16, not with that, with Notepad plus, and then you'll see on line 16, there's a problem right there, okay? Because I forgot the R, okay? So what about schema? If I'm doing schema and syntax validation, that's something else it can do. Of course, you need to specify where the schema file is, okay? And again, I can say okay, and run in prompt, and I will select the schema and order schema, this guy here, okay? Verify that I actually did. Yes, I did. And again, FME tells you exactly what's wrong with the schema. So in this case, the file was syntactically correct, but it was not syntactically correct. Okay, so on line 5, basically my tag name was incorrect. So again, if I go here and I open this file and I go to line 5, not that way. See, IE thinks it's fine because IE doesn't worry about schema. But if I go here in Notepad and look at line 5, you can see it was company nam, so I spelt that wrong. So that's, again, a very simple case showing now you're starting to see some of the power of FME with these transformers. FME is really about what you do with the data in the middle, not necessarily the data at the beginning or the end. Okay, slideshow from current. Okay, blasting through these. So that's number 3. Validating XML data is easy, okay? Okay, so now time for a poll. Yeah, so this one's, what tools do you use for XML? So there it is. So the choices we have are XQuery, XSLT, FME, that's the one I use. It's the only one I use. XML Spy, and JavaScript. Okay, so select one or more of the following. Oh, lots of FMEs here with XQuery and XSLT. Oh, JavaScript in number set 2. Okay, so we will close that poll. Let's share the results. And you can see, wow, 70% of the people use FME. So that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, and again, in addition to questions, please let us know what we don't do so well with XML and FME, or FME in general. You think we could do a better job? Let us know that too. We're always interested, and that's what excites us, is feedback that shows us how we can make the tool even better. Okay, so now we're going to talk a bit about some more transformers. In this case, we're going to get a little crazy, and we're going to use these 2 flatteners in particular, and we're going to read some XML or web data. Okay, so this one, there's going to be more moving parts. And so one of the key things to remember with FME is, while I've been working with XML files so far, the data doesn't have to come from a file. To FME, the web is as easily accessible. This one, I'm going to have to move quickly on this one, but I'm actually going to read data from a website. Okay, and straight off a website. Yeah, we're going for it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, we'll close these guys because we don't need them anymore. No, I don't save any of this stuff. Rebuild it on the fly next time. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to go to the CBC website. Okay, and if I type cbc.ca/RSS, you're going to see, hey, there's a nice website there. Okay, we won't talk about the Canucks, but anyway, there's a great website here. And what I want to do is I want to read this data. Okay, so I'm going to use FME to do that. So I'm going to pop up an empty workspace because I like to start small. And whoa, not sure what happened there, but it was loud. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a text file reader. Okay, and in this case, I'm going to specify that I want to read directly from the cbc.ca/RSS. Okay, and I'm going to say read whole file at once. Okay, and it's as easy as that, Laura.
It just copies everything from that
That's,
site
yeah,
onto
it's
the
going to send an HTTP request. I'm going to log it just for fun. And now I will have logged it, and we will see here is the contents of that. And this is exactly how you work with any web service, because you could view the web, maybe that was a web service call. I just didn't know, right? All I know is I send some HTTP in and I get back some data. In this case, it's not even XML, it's HTML, but you know what? Doesn't matter.
close enough.
It's close enough for us. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down. We'll find some XML documents in here. There they are there. And I actually want to, because these are the actual RSS feeds. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab any line that begins with that. Okay, so, and I'm going to do a text filter. But what I'm going to do first is I read the whole file at once. Now, since I only want those lines, I'm going to want to read line by line. So I'm going to go like that. And now I'm going to put in the test filter. Okay. Even though I'm looking for strings, the test filter is my favorite string searcher now. And in FME 2013, I mean, look at how easy this is. Okay, I'm going to say attribute value. Well, there's only one in this case. And I'm going to say contains. Okay, whoa, matches regex. I'm not that sophisticated, so we're just going to say contains, and I'm going to paste that in there like that. And okay, let's give it a name. And we'll say found XML, like that. Okay, and I'm going to log that. And we're going to now see how many times I find that. So I'm going to run that. And now what I will have pulled out of that document is the 58 lines that were actually links to XML documents online. And what's really cool is in our logger, wherever there's an HTTP, it turns it into something I can just click on. So if I actually click on this link, up comes a browser, and I go right to the XML documents so I can see what I potentially could pull out. So how cool is that? That's pretty cool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do though is I want the information from this XML document, this piece here, and that is XML. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the XML flattener. Okay, so I'm going to put an XML flattener right here. Okay, XML flattener, and I'm going to tell it I want TD. Okay. And I'm going to say, well, it's not a file, it's an attribute, and the attribute is called what? The attribute is called text line data still? Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, it is. Look at that. And this attribute, well, there's only one, so it must be it. So that makes it really easy. And the element I want to match is TD. Okay. Like that. And so I'll run that again. Okay, and then we'll get a log here. And there we go. If I scroll up again here, we're going to see that now I have it blown out here. Okay, so there's where the value, a and a.href. And so I'm going to expose those. Okay, so now I'm basically, the reason I expose them is then I can work with them further down the line, because of course, so this is all dynamic, and so the Workbench doesn't itself know what those are. So now I got this a and href as attributes that FME knows about. Okay, so now I want to retrieve those things. So how do I retrieve those? Well, I'm going to use the HTTP fetcher. HTTP fetcher. Okay, and output, and I'm simply going to say, let's fetch the target URL, which in this case is going to be a.href. Okay, and we'll call it fetch document. Okay, and there we go. And so now what I will have done is I will have fetched a whole bunch of documents, and you'll see them go by. I'm going to put a sampler in here because this would take a while, because now I'm basically, you know, just banging on this. You can see all the documents come screaming down as I do HTTP fetch after HTTP fetch. Still, it only took you know, 10 seconds, but hey, 10 seconds is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sampler in here. Okay, and then we'll only read the first one, and I'm just going to say sampled, input sampled, and I'll click here and say first and features, and so now I'll only read the first one. So if I run it again now, you'll see that I only read the first one. So now if I look at what I'm getting, I'm actually getting out the retrieved document. You can see there's a whole bunch of items. Now this is XML, and so what I can do now is, but I want to blow my XML up into each little item. I want each item in here to be a separate feature, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the XML fragmenter to turn each of those little items into XML document, into separate features. So I can use the fragmenter, okay? And there we go. And I basically say I want item. Okay, Juan's watching carefully to make sure I don't screw it up, mess it up. Okay, so it's going to be fetch document, and the elements I want to match in this case is just item. Okay, and I'm going to flatten. Okay, and again, what we've tried to do is to give you the things you want to do. It'd be a drag if I had to fragment then flatten. So now I can go flatten right in here, and I'm just going to say flatten, and the attributes to expose. I don't even know yet, because I will know in a minute. So now I run it, and now basically I've blown that one of the 58 into 15 features. I've logged it, and now we can go here and have a quick look, and you can see that I have description and or I have title and link, and so now I could do whatever I want to do with that. First, for sake of brevity, let's write that to a text file. Okay, and we'll put it in demos, RSS feed, output, found news text, sure, okay, and it's over here, and what I'll do is I can put a string concatenator here. Okay, I'll connect it here, string concatenator, okay, concatenator, and we will write title, okay, title, and we'll drag out whatever value it was. Did I expose it? I probably didn't even expose it yet. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, fragmenter, I got to expose what items. It's going to be, I got to run it again. Okay. Okay, so we go up here, and we're going to expose link and title. Okay, so here, link, title. Okay, hopefully I got the case right. Link, title. Okay, string concatenator, and then I can just simply grab the link or title here. Okay, and link, and put the link out there. Okay, and then put a couple spaces. Okay, and now I simply grab the concatenated and connect it to text line data. Okay, it's down here, and now I've effectively built extracted those. And I could go anywhere. I could even write another web page if I wanted to. So okay, that's run, and over here. Okay, there it is there, and you can see title and link are all there. So anyway, I could fix that up later, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's, you know, showing FME reading other things besides just files. So any web service that returns XML, you're ready to go with FME. Okay, so that was writing. We also have some canned writers. Okay, so you can go to how to drag and drop simply going to XML. So you might have the case where somebody says, hey, I just want an XML document, and you really don't care which one, so you can do that too. Okay, so first a question: what web services are folks interested in? So Laura's going to launch a poll. Yeah. Okay, so the answers are OGC services, OGC, so WFS, WCS, WMS, WMTS, OGC services, WPS, RSS, Atom, sensor services, none. Okay, so select your polls here. Lots of sensors, lots of OGC services, none. There we go. So Laura's going to close the poll. Shares the results. So there you go. Sensors and the OGC are big, and a lot of folks are not interested in any of those. So there you go. Okay, so back to our thing. So now we're going to do a simple drag and drop demo. Okay, as usual with these things, I could go on all day, but I'll try not to because I know you guys have other things to do. I don't. Okay, so here we're going to show how easy it is to write XML. And again, initially I'm not going to use any transformers because I want to show how easy it can be. Okay, so demos, so writing XML. Okay, I have a little file here. It's a tab file, and I'm going to transform it with FME Workbench. Okay, and initially I'm just going to go to XML. I'm not even going to go to GML with this. So we'll say XML. Okay, parameters there, nothing really going on there. And here we're just going to go out to writing XML output, and we'll just call it output wed.xml and save. Okay, and lo and behold, there we go. Okay, and if I run this, you'll see that I have XML. Okay, I'll run that. That'll only take a second. Output wed, there it is. And you're going to see all the attributes came across. But your next question is, well, what about the geometry? So another transformer is geometry extractor. Okay, now I'm not doing GML yet. Okay, but I want to show you the geometry extractor because it has many ways of extracting the geometry. And there's a number of XML ones. There's FME XML. There's GML 2.12, 3.1, and there's also OGC well-known text. So let's just pick FME XML and go again. And I got to add an attribute over here because this is not GML, so I'd have to call something geometry. Okay, and output, and now I connect this here, and I run this, and I'm trying not to get too excited here, but now if I open that XML again, you're going to see now it has geometry. But it's not OGC geometry, but it is geometry. If I wanted OGC GML geometry in an XML document, which some people want, because hey, the OGC spent a lot of time defining what their GML is, I simply change the geometry extractor again and go. And now I open it again, and now it's in GML geometry. Okay, what if I want to go to GML? Well, GML, I can simply add another writer. I could say GML here. I could pick the parameter type. Let's go for the latest and greatest 3.2.1. And again, I would pick an output. Let's go output GML, output wed.gml. And there we go there. And I can, nope, because I'm going to duplicate this one and writer. Whoops, associate with, no, duplicate on writer. Oh, right, okay, I have to say GML. Okay, it's helping me. You notice this one I don't have to specify the geometry because of course GML has the geometry. So I simply go like that. Now I've written both an XML document and a GML document, and I can open the GML document with the data inspector, and you will see that it is GML. Okay, better be careful there. Okay, it's GML. And there is the data that's coming in, and where is it? There it is. Okay. And it has the attributes, and there you go. So that's going out to GML. Okay. So that's as easy as it is. Again, I didn't want to use any transformers on that one. Okay. Okay. So we're running right along here. Okay. How about writing arbitrary XML? So an arbitrary XML, this is where you're given a schema document or a sample. Okay. So again, whoops. We're going to do, oh, first we're going to do updating XML. So we're going to show that later, but now we're going to show how to update an XML document. So let's say that somebody gives you a large XML document and you want to update it. Okay? Because it could be the case of metadata. Maybe your organization has a metadata document and there's just so many different types of flavors and you just want to update certain fields. Well, writing it from scratch would be a lot of work. And as we are at SAFE, we're lazy. We like to do things the easy way. So one day I said to Juan, boy, this writing of this update of these documents is hard. And Juan said, we need an XML updater. And I said, yeah, that's what we need. We need an XML updater. And so Juan and his team, they built one. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this metadata document, okay, which we'll open it here just so you can see how gloriously it is. Whoops. Okay, we'll go back here. Okay, I'm getting excited. And we are going to open it with Workbench again. And we're going to say that it is a text document when Workbench comes up because I want to open it as a text document. Okay, and we're going to read it all as once. Okay, and sure, we're going to go out to text file too because we're just going to write it. Okay. And we're down to number 6. So we're getting to our 7th. Whew, I knew this was going to be a race. Okay. A race for time. And we'll call it updated wed.xml. Okay. And there we go. Initially, it's not doing anything. But if you look at this XML document, we know we want to update it. So it turns out there's something called the XML updater. Okay. So I'm going to drop that in there. Okay, and what I have in this directory, I also have a CSV file that has a list of a bunch of fields that I need to update. So it has all these different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop that CSV file in there too, because of course you can read multiple documents in FME. Nobody said you could only read one thing at a time. So this is an example of when we're actually going to read 2 separate readers at the same time. And you can read as many as you want with FME. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in here. Okay, so and I have all these fields I'm going to update. I'm not going to update them all, but what I am going to do is I'm going to update some of them. The FME input is here on text line data. Okay, and now I'm going to update the document. So if I look at the document, the things I want to update, let's say I want to update where's my metadata? Okay, this one here. Let's say I want to update the individual name who's responsible. So I'm simply going to grab that. I'm just going to say, well, the person I want to update is the individual name. So I'm just going to update the individual name like this. So I copy this value. Okay, so I'm going over here and I want to replace the contents and the path is this. Okay, now I'm going to edit it a little bit just to make it path-like. Okay, but I don't have to do much. I'm just copying and pasting. See, I barely know what I'm doing, and that's what's really has Juan scared as he's sitting watching me go here. And now the value I want to put in there, again, I'm going to grab a different attribute value. I'm going to grab responsible name, and I'm going to say this is the next query. Oh, did I do that right? Let's see. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Okay, I want to put this in. I want to grab the attribute here, and I want to say a responsible name like that. Okay, now I say that's an X query, and you get the idea. I will run this, and now when I open that metadata document in output, okay, which was date modified, which is that one right there. Ooh, I have 6 minutes left. You can see the responsible name now has changed. Okay. No, it didn't, because I didn't do this. Okay, So it did not change, but now it will change. I ran it again, I think. So now 8:54, did I run it again? Yes, now it's changed to Joe Smith from this guy over here, Johan Vlon Plasmoden, which I just probably butchered his name, but it gets you the idea. So I could replace all these fields in exactly the same way, and now my metadata file document, I'm just changing what I'm doing. I'm not actually rewriting from scratch. And so that is a big deal if you have to update metadata documents. And you could update anything. Could be the dates, could be the bounding boxes, could be anything. Okay, so that was the metadata writing example. Okay, and yep, that's what we just did, wasn't it? Did I just skip something? No, I didn't. I just got excited and got a little bit ahead of myself. Okay, okay. So what if you don't have any XML and you want to write a sample? Or okay, you want to write one from an XSD or a sample? You can do that with FME too. And we're going to do that again right now. Okay, and and that was foreshadowing a little bit. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so having fun here. So what I want to do, remember those CSV files that I wrote out? Imagine that I wanted to write XML. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to open the CSV file here. Open with Workbench. And we're going to note that when you're reading CSV, always click the parameters, because you notice it's quite common that the first line has the field names. Okay, so I go like that. Now I'm going to pick two CSVs at once because I'm lazy and I don't want to actually go in and do this twice. And I go like that. And the writer format we're going to say is text file, because again, I'm going to use transformers to build this. And the output file is going to be, what am I going to call it? Let's call it new order wed.xml. Okay, save. And I'm going to say okay, just like that. And I want both of them. Okay, that guy can go over there, and you'll see that I have these guys here. Okay, so what I want to do now is I actually want to write XML based on an example. So I'm going to use the XML templater, which is really a transformer that understands XML and allows really clever substitution. Well, I want to use that orders guy, but I don't actually, imagine I don't actually have a sample. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this generate button down here, and I'm going to go to the orders.xsd document, and I'm going to load it in. Okay, and I don't know the path to the element because this is a root, so I go like this, and it basically generates me an entire root document with showing me all the values I have to put in. Well, I'm going to build things for customers, and I'm going to build things for orders like this. So I get rid of those like that because this is the root part. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay, now I have this, now I need to somewhere to connect customer and order. So each of those is going to be another sub part of this. So I'm going to say plus here, and I'm going to call one customer. Okay. And I'm going to go here. And again, I'm going to generate. And in this case, well, I got to specify the same XSD document. But in here, the path I want to do is customer is root customers customer. Okay, and if you looked at the XML, you would see that that's pretty simple. So I go like that, and now I have that one done, and then I'm going to do one for order. Okay. Oh, minus. I'm going to do another one for order. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. We have 2 minutes. Okay, and I generate schema location, orders.xsd. Okay, path to element is going to be root/orders/order. I say yes. Okay, I've generated that. I can say okay here. Now I have a place to connect customer and order. I need something to connect to root, but there's only one output, so I use something called a creator, which creates sort of a dummy feature, and this dummy feature has nothing on it. Now I go up to root, and I have to sub in customers and attributes. So I grab the customer, I simply, I don't need to drag and drop, I can just double click, and I go here, and I double click, and so now I'm going to have this XML document. Okay, and I click to text file, and I run, and it's not going to get anything out because, of course, I forgot to connect the result. Okay, so I'll go like that, and assuming it worked, okay, a lot of moving parts here. I go to output, and new orders wed, that's it. And there you go. There is, I forgot one piece. Okay, and we'll do it for customer, but we won't do it for, you'll see these company name values here. What I didn't do was I didn't fill them in. So I'll do one and then you get the idea, right? So now they'll all be company name. And so you can see why it's called the templater, because it builds me an XML framework and then I can put in anything. So we'll do the phone too, just so we can see, just for fun. Okay, phone, and we go like this,
So
and like
attribute values directly into the XML.
that's right. So for each one of these, it's pulling those values and putting it into the XML. So now when I run it, okay, and I open it, you can see now that those values have been substituted in, and there's a repeating group, and you can see all the different values. And so there you go. Okay. So, okay, so back to our show. Roger's going to be yelling at me in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to have to buy him a coffee or something. So that's the 7th way we make XML easy. And we have one bonus one, which we're just going to talk about really quickly. And that's the power of FME. Well, you've seen how FME can actually write XML. Well, it turns out that because FME can write XML, and we have FME server that has a data streaming service, you couple these two things together, and what you can actually do is build a web service that takes URL strings in. Those URL strings go right to the workspaces, as we've shown this morning, and you can use this to build a web server that could answer questions like get capabilities, describe feature type, and get feature. And you'll note that we're not actually building anything OGC or any other web service specific. We've just built a framework that can answer any web request and return stream data back in any format. And this turns out that XML and JSON are very popular formats. And of course, this supports both get and post. So I know we're a little bit over time, but this is a bonus part, so Laura will just do a very quick demo. So we've got about 2 minutes left. So take it away, Laura. Oh, I'll make you the presenter somehow. I gotta somehow make you the presenter. Okay, screen, attendee list. And are you must be down here? Must be you. Okay, so now we should be able to see, and Laura's just going to demonstrate quickly like the get capabilities one. Okay. So do you share your screen? There you go.
All right, there it is. So I'm just going to copy out the URL. So this is a URL directly to a workspace. It's GeoNames WFS workspace that's running on my server through the data streaming service. And I'm just going to do a get capabilities request on that. It's going to run the workspace and return the capabilities of this web service. So I'll just copy this URL into a browser and show what the return looks like.
Okay, so what happens at this request is you see the .fmw in there, and so that actually ran a workspace that in real time generated this result in XML, GML, and simply returned it. So that's what we're doing. So we haven't spent time building an OGC or anything specific technology. We've been spending our time building generic tools and framework, working towards having a framework where we can support any kind of web service. So this could be an OData web service. We could do exactly the same thing and build an OData web server or any other server that streams anything. We could, soon, who knows, we might be demonstrating this technology for WMTS. Could happen. Yeah. So we'd like to be able to go more into that, but we're a little low on time, and so I'm going to take this back, Laura.
Okay.
And I think I can do that. I think I can make myself the presenter again. Okay. And show my screen, and then we have 2 more slides, and I know I'm going to get it because we're over time, but I'm sorry about that. That's completely my fault. I'd like to blame Laura and Juan, but they're in the room, and so that's really bad for them. Okay, so that was just a bonus one. You can find out about this, more about this later. If you come to the Inspire conference in Florence, I will be there. and I'll be happy to talk about this and show this more with you. FMEpedia, if you want to learn anything more about FME, FMEpedia is a great spot, and I'll show you just why in one sec here. Come on, screen. Okay, so for example, if I go to FMEpedia, okay, FMEpedia.com, and I typed in something like XML Writing. Okay, you're going to see all the documents we have on XML Writing. If I typed in metadata, you're going to get all the documents we have about metadata. So a huge resource. You're going to find everything you need there, but feel free also to talk to us about that. But I wanted to point out the value, the power of FMEpedia, and YouTube channel too. And anyway, we're a little over time, so we're going to have to answer all these questions, I guess, offline. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, we'll follow up through
Okay, we'll follow up. Anyway, there you go. I hope you had as much fun as we did, and again, thank you so much for coming and joining us. And let us know what you would like to see us do with XML or anything FME later. Whenever you get a chance, we're always happy to talk to you. If you have any questions, always send an email to xml@safe.com. So one more poll, Laura. Yeah, one more poll. And that is, would you like more information on our free training options?
So
the poll's not in there. Okay, well, if you would like more options on our free training, then please do send us an email. We have lots of our free training options. Many of them are instructor-led. So despite the fact they're free does not mean that we just send you to a website and you do them. We actually have instructors online to work through with you. So there you go, fme.ly/online. Okay, and we'll be following up with email. And here's how you can contact us: info@safe.com, www.safe.com/support, or for anything XML related, xml@safe.com. And I just love getting those emails. So thank you so much. We're about 6 minutes over time. It's all my fault. Whenever it comes to XML, I get just too excited, and I can't control myself. We even had other demos that I wanted to do, but I actually cut them off last night. So there you go. Okay. So thank you, everybody, and thanks, Juan, and thanks, Laura, and thanks, Roger, and Stephanie for letting this webinar continue past time. Okay, thank you.